Okay, y'all. This radio confused me. Let's talk on it. So this is the MaxTalker TK-W60. It's a 8-watt claimed radio, IP67 waterproof, and a rugged design as advertised. Well, let's take a look at it. I'm going to show you some things about it that I love about this radio, but there's a lot of things I also don't like. So for starters, you'll notice we have a big LED light on top. It's something that they're advertising heavily on it. I'm going to show you some stuff about it that just doesn't make sense. So number one, it is only a red, blue, and green LED. And if you look here, let's see. We'll go ahead and we'll turn it on. It's kind of hard to tell, but you're only going to see those basically red and blue going across there. When you do transmit and receive, you are going to see the red and green, which is a good thing, I believe. You can see the red. And when you receive, you're going to see the green. On the side here, you can see part of the waterproofing. This is where your programming cable or headset would connect here. And you do need a flathead screwdriver to get in. And there is evidence of it being waterproof. You'll see some of the rubber seals inside there. And you can tell it's just a little bit more rugged than a lot of your other radios. Up top, you're going to see your channel selector, which is definitely nice to have. You can also scroll through the individual frequencies as well. And definitely a nice feature to have. Up top, you do have your volume button, and this volume is a little bit stiff, and I know a lot of people like that. It does come with the tactical antenna, which that antenna is decent. It's a very wide frequency range, so it's not going to be the best antenna out there for sure. You'll definitely want to look at upgrading, which you can do so pretty cheap on Amazon or other places to get something like a Nagoya 771 or a Signal Stick or many other antennas. And that's pretty common with any time you get a radio, especially on the more inexpensive side. It's usually an easy upgrade. So we've looked over the waterproofness, the ruggedness. It is a hard plastic. It is not the rubberized plastic. If you look over here on the side, a couple other cool things about it is you do have a couple of programmable buttons. You can program it to a number of things, including setting off the siren, completely useless, but it does flash those pretty red and blue lights. To know a weather, and of course your scan function and things. So you can see I got it scanning. So you can make it do some different things. So we've got that function there. The PTT button is very, it's actually nice to press. When you, let's go ahead and we'll go back here. But it is more of a click. And you do get that beeping showing that you did key up there. That does not broadcast over the air. That is only something you hear, which I think is nice. So it is advertised 8 watts, but in my testing, we are only getting about 6.5, close to about 7 watts, which is also very common with a lot of these inexpensive radios where they make a claim for 8 watts. Anywhere from quality control coming through to them just embellishing a little bit is very common with these radios. However, a 6-watt radio is a very capable radio. You're going to see a lot of your high-end radios are only pushing about 4 to 5 watts anyways. So this is still a very capable radio as far as transmitting. I've tested it, put it on a few of the repeaters in my area, as well as talking simplex, and it's very capable. Another thing I did notice is on this, compared to some other radios in the price range, the speaker itself is a little bit better, not by much, but a little bit better than some of the others, which also helps with the receiving on the air bands, which this does have receiving on the air band, so listening to some of the airport activity there, and having a little bit better speaker helps with that. So unfortunately, that's where some of the good stuff ends. One more mention here, something that is not common on a lot of these radios, is if you look, you do have a channel edit where you can actually edit the name of the channel. Now I got a little bit confused here, but it's pretty easy once you figure it out. So it's got your numbers, your uppercase and lowercase, so you can scroll on, and then you go to the next by hitting the pound key, which is very nice and not something that a lot of radios actually have. So that is definitely something to mention here for you. So we get into a little bit of the quality control stuff. If you look here on the display, I don't know if it's mine or if that's just the way they come, but you can see some of the light leaking there from an LED back behind the display. I don't see it on the other side, so I don't know if it's just my radio, the display not working correctly like that. There's some redundant things that just doesn't make sense. I can hit the key here to go up and down between channel A and B, or I can hit A and B. So I don't understand the redundancy there. Just get rid of the A and B. If we look through some of the settings, it is a little bit confusing at first, but you'll see just a few settings here under the transmit and receive, and then the settings kind of start making sense after you get used to it. This really confused me. So setting your CTCS codes to get into repeaters, you can press everything. I thought it was broken. I could not get it to do anything, and I finally figured it out. You have to hit the little star key here, and then that gets you into your CTCS codes as well as the DCS codes. So, and then you'll go up and down. So that was a little bit confusing. Now, we've talked a lot of good about this radio, but here's why I don't recommend it. This radio is not chirp compatible, and by not recommending it, what I'm saying is I'm not going to recommend it to a first-time radio buyer. If you're very familiar with radios and how they work, and you can kind of look at this radio, make a decision yourself, it's not a bad radio to just have as an extra one. But the reason I wouldn't recommend it to a first time or somebody getting to know these radios is this is not chirp compatible. It's also not compatible with the TID radio Bluetooth programmer. And with that, so you have to use their programming software. You would go to their website and you download it. It is free. And it's not super difficult to use or anything, but a lot of people that are already using Chirp, that's another program you have to download. It's very similar if you've ever upgraded some firmware on some other radios. It seems to be the same software as a lot of those use to do that. So they really made a miss on this LED light up top. This LED light, if they had it shine white, it would have been probably the most functional LED light on any of these handheld radios, because they're almost pointless when they put it up on top. I guess in an absolute emergency and you don't have any light option, I guess it's nice to have. But if they were to put that LED up here in the front, and it also has a dedicated button down below, could you imagine if that was a white light? That would be nice to be able to set your radio and it shine down on your desk or whatever you're working on there, and it would have been one of the most functional LED flashlights on any of these radios. So they definitely missed the mark with not having that as a white LED. And like I said, some of the quality control here I'm seeing where you can see that light bleed through. It's why I wouldn't recommend it for a first-time radio buyer. But if you've got a collection of a bunch of inexpensive radios and you're just wanting to add something to your collection, it's not horrible. It does have a nice strong belt clip, which I know to a lot they say they don't like, but when you go to hang this on your visor, it'll stay. Well, what do you guys think? What do you think of this radio? Trying to give my honest opinion on it. My feelings are very mixed on it because it does have the cool features. Like being able to program in the name of the channel directly on the radio is a big plus. So again, tell me what you guys think. What radio would you like to see next? And as always, let's talk on it.